Hello friends and family from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Today we have a really fun video. We're gonna head over to the Alcatraz East Crime Museum. They have some incredible items, literally from like Ted Bundy. They have his Volkswagen. I do believe they have like Jeffrey Dahmer's glasses. Really strange and unusual crime items. This museum seems really awesome. I'm excited to be here though and give you guys the full tour here in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. But before we get started, if you would subscribe and click the bell notification so you aware of future uploads and live streams, we would greatly appreciate it. Before we do head into Alcatraz East Crime Museum, I do want to show you the outside of the building. It seriously looks like an old jail. It is that good. There's a clock up there on the top, and all of this neon does light up at nighttime, but it's really interesting. Over here in the upper window, you can see one of the prisoners. It looks like he's trying to escape through the window, and the prison guard right up top is actually watching him. This is really neat right off the bat. Before we do head on inside, I do want to mention we recently went to the Titanic exhibit here in Pigeon Forge as well. That was really incredible. We had a full tour. I'll let a link to that in the description box of this one. Outside of the Alcatraz East Museum, look at this. They have a sheriff car for Sevier County. It says, "In God We Trust." This is a great little addition. Such a cool little photo op before you head into Alcatraz East. Okay, so here's the front doors. It says visiting roles don't harass the inmates, no flash photography, gum, foods, tobacco, and drinks. Here's some of the operating hours: 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday to Thursday, and then 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Okay, so as soon as you come inside, I love this because they have like old penitentiary photos as soon as you come in. It looks really weathered inside of here. It says temporary exhibition, so they do have some stuff going on. There's some View Alcatraz signage, but it's really, really awesome. Like they have like jail cells up ahead, inmates in their full like attire. Let's see what we have here. Okay, there is literally a ginormous photo up here of Alcatraz. That is really awesome. I can't get enough of the whole like inside area, like where you purchase your tickets. Adult are $28.95, child are $14.95, and then seniors are $21.95. In the temporary exhibit, check this out. They have a John Gotti baseball cap. Let's see here, from April 2nd, 1992. And then right up ahead, they have a little Appalachian. Let's see what we have here. Okay, held at the home of Joseph the Barber Barbera in Appalachian, New York. Here's one of his bar stools. And then up here they have a Mickey cone tie and pin set. So they have this spot as soon as you come into the museum upstairs. You can actually look down and you can see a prisoner. Looks like he has a lantern and he's shackled down there. Like, that is really, really interesting. Like, that's crazy. In this case here, they have a bunch of Indian themed items. This is Chief Edward LeClaire. They have a black powder Colt .45 and photograph like with Geronimo. Like there's the photograph with Geronimo. Here's the Colt .45. Really cool to see that it has the leather holster. Then over here they have an Indian police badge, German silver from 1880 to 1910. It says Indian police. And check out these Plains Indians war clubs that they have. I can just imagine like being hit on the receiving end with that thing. Like that is so crazy. And these are some rustler shoes. These are 19th century shoes, were worn during robberies to full law enforcement. You can see like they have some metal attachments at the bottom. In this case here, they have an actual Jesse James slate notebook. This slate notebook belonged to Ed Miller, a Jesse James member, until he was supposedly killed by Jesse James for talking too much about the gang's exploits. That is really incredible. Then over here they do have a leather holster. This is a Jesse James leather holster. It says this leather holster belongs to outlaw Jesse James, 1847 to 1882 until his death. And they do have like a comic book here with Jesse James stories. Then right up here they have, let's see, Frank James walnut walking stick. Unlike his brother Jesse, Frank, let's see, 1843 to 1915, survived his career as an outlaw. In this glass case, they have a whole section to do with moonshine. You have NASCAR legend Junior Johnson was jailed in 1956 for having a moonshine still. Since 2007, Johnson has been a partner in legal they call midnight moonshine. Then you have some of these things here, like the cork is still on that, which is really neat. And check out this old bottle that they have. Then over here they have a Prohibition era bottle capper. In the next section over, you have all the public enemies. Pretty Boy Floyd, let's see, February 1904 to October 22nd, 1934. Babyface Nelson, 1908 to November 27th, 1934. There's the actual Machine Gun Kelly. This is really cool to see, like these old crime posters and things that they have. Let's see what we have going over in this section. They have a wood-carved gun. On March 3rd, 1934, when Dillinger escaped from the escape-proof Lake County Jail in Crown Point, Indiana, he used a wood-carved gun, such as this one, to do it. Oh boy, so John Dillinger used a gun just like that. And here's one of John Dillinger's mugshot photos when he was arrested back in 1933. And then down here is an actual John Dillinger death mask. Oh boy, yeah, that is so crazy to see, like his eyes closed. You can still see his hair and his mustache. All this stuff is really fascinating. In the next section over is even more stuff here from mobsters. This is a Colt Mini 45 submachine gun. Let's see here, the impressive, this represents a hybrid produced by gunsmith H.S. Lebman. He combined the two parts from a 1911 Colt 45 with parts from a Thompson machine gun. So that's what that would have looked like. And they do also have another one right up here. This is actually used by the Thompson machine gun. Let's see, the most effective portable firearm in existence. Yeah, there's a picture of him holding it right there. I did also want to mention though that this particular gun, this style gun, was used by John Dillinger and Babyface Nelson. Then they have this whole board here. It says, let's see, my wife made me do it. Who am I? Then over here we have George Barnes, aka Machine Gun Kelly. Barnes wasn't much of a criminal, just a small-time bootlegger until he married his wife Catherine. I do want to show a couple other of these here. Let's see what we have doing. This one says, I was never arrested and it has never been proven that I committed a violent crime. Who am I? There's the picture. Let's slide that over. Arizona Kate Ma Barker. Although there was little evidence Ma Barker was guilty of anything more than harboring 4 sons from an arrest, she was hunted down by the FBI and killed with her son Fred at Lake Weir in Florida. Oh boy, in Florida. That's crazy. And then over here, let's see what we have doing. Okay, let's see. I changed my appearance with plastic surgery and obliterated my fingerprints to evade the cops. Who am I? Of course, this is John Dillinger. Let's check out some of the items they have in this case. This is one of the bullets that struck Pretty Boy Floyd when he was killed in Ohio, 1934. Over here is a Tommy gun magazine clip. This clip was, let's see here, confiscated from Dillinger gang after they were arrested in Tucson, Arizona. Then right underneath there, they have Dillinger. Looks like a death record. Oh boy, yeah, look at that. Okay. Oh, this is a payroll record. Okay, so that is really interesting. Okay, so in this case is the death record. It's issued June 1st, 1934. You can see all of like the fingerprints, the picture of Dillinger. Then right underneath they do have from 1921 a Dillinger payroll record. It's really crazy. It's actually signed by John Dillinger. Like that is something else. And they do have some Dillinger gang casings and slugs. In the next section over, they have some signage that says, say hello to my little friend, but there's a whole cabinet of assorted things. Back here is the obituary mass card for John Gotti, who passed away June 10th, 2002. And then over here, they do have Al Capone's Chinese cherry trees. Let's see, a 1939 Al Capone being treated for syphilis at a Union Memorial Hospital near Baltimore. So they do have some of those items there, the cherry trees. And then over here they have an Uzi machine gun on display. This is so crazy to see, like up close and personal. From Scarface? Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, it is from Scarface. That's really cool. Then over here they have the Flamingo Hotel and Casino from 46 to 47. These are some rare matchbooks. Okay, so in this case here, they have from the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, one of the bricks, you can actually see where a bullet would have went in. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, February 14th, 1929, was the name given to a cold-blooded slaying of 7 members of Bugsy Moran's North Side gang by his bootleg rival Chicago Al Capone's South Side gang. That is really something else to see one of the bricks from the Valentine's Day Massacre. Over here they have Fred Killer, Burke, and Ray Crane. Neck Nugent, let's see what we have. Burke and Nugent were considered prime suspects in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, and the Thompson machine gun found in Burke's home was to match the ballistics from the crime scene. Here's like one of the clips with the bullets. They have lots of really interesting things here. In this case here, they have a bunch of Al Capone souvenirs. These are souvenirs from Al Capone's various offices around Chicago, including Alton, Metropole, let's see, Lexington's hotels, and his mentor, Big Jim. So they do have some of his items there, like some spoons, you have some keys, and all sorts of things. And here's one of the bathroom tiles, Nile green tile removed from Al Capone's private bathroom at his Lexington hotel headquarters before it was demolished in 1995. That is really neat. And they even have Al Capone's razor. It's really awesome in this section though, like they do show you a bunch of the different mobsters. They have Meyer Lansky right underneath, let's see here, Carlo Gambino, everybody knows him, John Gotti, right over here they have Bugsy Moran, all of the infamous mobsters, Lucky Lucano. In this cabinet, they have some other things from John Gotti, 1940 to 2002. Of course, known as the Dapper Dan and the Teflon Don, Gotti became the boss of the powerful Gambino crime family in New York City by ordering the murder of his predecessor. Look at that, though. It has like some of the bullets in there. Like, that is really interesting. Then underneath here, let's see what else we can find. We have Carlo Gambino. This is actually signed by Carlo Gambino for $225. You have a picture of him. In this cabinet's a lot of stuff with Bernie Madoff. They have a birthday note. Bernie Madoff's surviving son Andrew has not spoken to his father since the day of Madoff's confession back in 2008. This letter was sent by Madoff from prison in North Carolina. It says, "Dear Andy, happy birthday, love Dad." They do still have the original envelope and everything with the stamp on it. Right underneath they have, it says Madoff Master. So this is one of the keys. This master key opened all doors at the BLMIS office. Let's see, in the Lipstick building, only 5 people had this key. Then they have some Madoff trademark swag, they're calling this, and they do actually have Bernie Madoff's baseball bat. This one's a powerized Louisville Slugger. Even some auction items. It looks like they have one of those like toy snakes like you would get that move around. Like, that is really neat. And here's one of Bernie Madoff's investment statements. Of course, here's some signage of the man himself, Bernie Madoff. Look at him there with his mugshot. I do want to read a little bit about him. Bernie Madoff, 1938, got his start in the financial world. In 1960, when he used his savings to start his own trading firm, Madoff Investment Security, LLC, the firm became highly respected, and was part of the development of the NASDAQ. Okay, with his success, Madoff started an assist management branch with a firm where he became hugely influential and regarded as a financial wizard for his astounding returns, which sometimes promised up to 46% annually. Okay, we're making our way into like the serial killer section. We have Junie Buonanno, April 4th, 1943 to March 30th, 1998. They do have her shot. This was taken by her daughter Kimberly during their last visitation before she was executed. Like, that is crazy. And then in this case here, they do have some items literally used and worn by Jeffrey Dahmer. Here's some of the handcuffs. And it looks like it does have like a date, the 5th and the 2nd of 1954. These handcuffs were used to move convicted serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer from his housing unit to visiting room, where incarcerated in Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. Dahmer served his sentence at that facility until he was killed by fellow inmate in 1994. That is crazy to see that. Over here is a baseball. Let's see, they're calling this the Charles Manson baseball. This baseball was signed by Charles Manson and serial killer Juan Corona. That is nuts, like seriously. Signed by Charles Manson. You can see it right there on the side, Charles Manson. And then over here, let's see what we have doing. It looks like the inmate name, Jeffrey Dahmer, 5 postcards. Oh boy, yeah, look at that. It's actually signed by Jeffrey Dahmer. The second, so we got February, and then 22nd, 1994, it says out on visit. That is crazy. It's a property receipt. I do also want to read the little tag here. Security or signature of Jeffrey Dahmer. While in prison, Dahmer received an enormous amount of mail and money, mostly from females who never knew him. Like, that is crazy. He was only allowed to keep a number of items at a time. Additional items were picked up by a visitor, usually his father. Property receipt was for 5 postcards leaving the prison due to exceeding his allowed limit. So this is the receipt from that. The next section over, they do have an entire spot here to John Wayne Gacy. Here's his mugshot. It says Des Plaines, Illinois, March 17th, 1942 to May 10th, 1994. Of course, everybody knows who John Wayne Gacy is. There's a bunch of pictures of him over there. But I do want to show, look at this. This is a paint set from John Wayne Gacy. It's signed here on the side, John Gacy. This paint belonged to John Wayne Gacy while on death row in Menard Correctional Center in Illinois. This is crazy. It's all the brushes, all of the paints. Like, that is nuts. And then over here they do have a typewriter. This is from father's approval to his performance as Pogo the Clown. Gacy always sought attention. So this is John Wayne Gacy's actual typewriter. Up here they do have a leather jacket, which was also worn by John Wayne Gacy. It's a size extra large. That's nuts. And then over here they have Gacy's wallet. It reveals common personal items such as a social security card, Visa credit card, driver's registration. You can see it, like it has the Hertz rental slip there, a little Radio Shack card, some Millionaires Club item right there. I've never seen that before. And then over here they do even have his Pogo the Clown and Patches costumes. It says tell it like it is, a bunch of buttons on here. Lead me to your taker. This is nuts to see in person. Let's make the scene. That is crazy. And then over here is another one of his costumes. And then right at the bottom they do have a painting that John Wayne Gacy drew of himself as Pogo the Clown. That is nuts. Yep, actually painted by John Wayne Gacy, probably from some of those paints we just saw. In the next section here, they do have the Ted Bundy exhibit, November 24th, 1946 to January 24th, 1928. There's the Salt Lake County picture there with Ted Bundy. I do want to show you some of the things that they have. In this case, that they do have the Ted Bundy dental records from his upper and lower jaw. Let's see what else we have doing. This is a typewriter that was actually used by Ted Bundy. It's really crazy to think like his fingertips actually used this and typed the keys. And there's a picture of Ted Bundy in the backside with his dental, with his mouth actually wide open. This section here, they do have Tex Watson's actual LAPD fingerprints on file here at the Alcatraz East Museum. Check this out. It has his name, his signature, and here's all of his fingerprints, like his left ring, his left middle, his left index. That's really crazy to see. And then right underneath, they do have an exhibit from the Boston Strangler. While it was speculated for many years Albert DeSalvo was indeed an infamous Boston Strangler, killer of 13 victims between 62 and 64. That is nuts. Like, you have like his blade there, and it looks like there's a bracelet back there. In this case here, they have Jeffrey Dahmer's prison glasses. These are the glasses worn by serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer while serving 15 consecutive life sentences in prison. Dahmer was responsible for deaths of 17 young men and boys. It has all the different names listed. His last victim was Tracy Edwards, let's see, who was able to escape and alert police, leading to Jeffrey Dahmer's arrest on July 22nd, 1991. So here's Jeffrey Dahmer's actual glasses that he wore in prison. This is like a very eerie feeling, like where the nose pads like touched his nose, and just really crazy. And check out some of the pictures that they have, like the mugshots of Jeffrey Dahmer. This is insane though, like that is something else. Then over here on display, they do also have one of Charles Manson's guitars, and it looks like they have a vinyl, I Never Learn Not to Love by the Beach Boys. Let's see what we have doing though. This is, as the police evidence tags notes, the guitar was seized in California while during a raid of Barker Ranch on October 12, 1969. So this was one of Charles Manson's guitars. It still has the tags on it there. Yeah, this is nuts. Look at that. Charles Manson's guitar. Some of the things that they have here is seriously so eerie. They have one of serial killer Ed Gein's teeth. It's preserved right there. To my friend Jeffrey and the whole family, congratulations, best wishes to, and happiness on your, let's see, whole life through. And it's actually signed Edward Gein at the bottom. That is crazy. Like, look at his tooth right there. And then it does have the original envelope as well with the stamps. That is nuts. It has the address from Pennsylvania. That is really crazy. And then over here, I'm sure everybody watching the video has heard of Eileen Wuornos. They do have her fingerprints. Let's see, we have the right thumb, the right index, right middle, and all of the other ones. Yeah, this is really nuts to see some of her fingerprints from the land in Florida, Volusia County, Florida. Let's see here, this day of January 31st, 1992. Let's check out some of the things we have in this case. They have Chief Criminal Deputy Alan Sweat. Alan Sweat was on the scene of the sniper's nest at the Texas School Book Depository building almost immediately after Kennedy was shot. Oswald, however, had exited the building only 3 minutes after the shot was fired. They do have over there some of his badges, or some of the cards I should say, that has Deputy Sheriff. Really cool to see that. And there's like a little replica of the building. Then over here they have a change of address form. It says this form dated March 6, 1963 indicated Lee Harvey Oswald moved to apartment on 214 West Neely Street. 6 days later, he ordered the rifle he used to assassinate President Kennedy. That is crazy. Like, that is nuts. That is absolutely crazy. Then in the case right next door to that, they do have Dr. Martin Luther King's death mask from 1968. In this section here in Exhibit 15, these are from the police files of infamous unsolved crimes. They do have Elizabeth Short there, the Black Dahlia. Over here is Jimmy Hoffa. Let's see, body whereabouts unknown. Of course, nobody really knows where Jimmy Hoffa's body is. Then they do have Natalie Holloway, October 21st, 1986, disappeared May 30th, 2005. And look at this, from the Wall of Hope, they do actually have the image that was there at the memorial. That's something else. They do have a picture like where it was hanging with all the different prayers and whatnot that people wrote. And right underneath they have a whole section. This is the Natalie Holloway DVD. Let's see what else we have going on here. Looks like a picture of Jimmy Hoffa, 1961 file photo used in newsprint publications. Shows Jimmy Hoffa being hoisted up in celebration as the good fellow was re-elected Union head. In this cabinet here, they have a Life magazine. It says The Love and Terror Cult. This is December 16th, 1969 Life magazine. Of course, you have Charles Manson on the front. Then right underneath, let's see what we have doing. The New York Times, October 18th, 2017. The front page of the edition of the New York Times features photograph. Sarah Edmondson exposed the brand. She received part of DOS female subgroup. Yeah, lots of neat stuff inside of this case. And then they do have a Waco Siege shirt. This is the 51-day standoff between authorities and the Branch Davidians capitalized national attention. This is one of the shirts from that. It says The Adventures of David Koresh. And they do have a whole poster here with the compound with David Koresh and the Branch Davidians, the Waco Siege, and has a bunch of the different things that happen there, of course. You can take a moment to pause on that if you like and read that, but it's really neat to actually read all of these things and be able to check out some of the photos that they have right underneath. We have Jim Jones and the People's Temple, so there's an actual photograph of Jim Jones himself.
Never had imagined. As I and other members of the Washington Field Office responded to the Pentagon, we were overwhelmed with the destruction and devastation. We were shocked and angry that someone would do this to our country and to such a respected institution.
It's a recreation.
There's also a temporary exhibit here at the Alcatraz East Museum. This is one of the inauguration invitations in 1961 when John F. Kennedy was inaugurated. That is really cool to see that. Over here they have a presidential tour badge. It's a NASA and then DOD, Cape Canaveral, Florida, the 16th of October 1963. And then they do also have one of Marilyn Monroe's dresses. Definitely kind of random. You can see a picture of Marilyn Monroe there. Really neat to see Marilyn's dress though, like that is really cool. They even have this little spot here where you can get your mugshot taken. Look at this, Luke's in there with a bunch of the different criminals. Looks like he's 4 foot 6 inches. He definitely dwarfs in comparison to some of the other gruesome characters that they have in the mugshot. In this case here, check this out. They have some mugshots of Johnny Cash. Really crazy, like Johnny Cash. It says the man in black, known for his bad boy reputation. Johnny Cash never served any significant jail time despite 7 arrests on his record from 1959 to 1968. The man in black, the black collared shirt belonged to Cash and was worn to spotlight several different occasions. And they do have one of his actual shirts that the man in black actually wore. And then right next door to the Johnny Cash shirt, they have a Cars souvenir guitar from Folsom Prison, hand-carved miniature guitar from Folsom Prison, which received its first inmates on July 26, 1880, oh my gosh, 1880. Then it says Governor of Folsom Prison engraved on it. In this case here, they have serial killer John Wayne Gacy's trial suit. It says the serial killer John Wayne Gacy was ordered to stand trial for murders of 33 young men and boys following his arrest in late 1978 at his home. Let's see, it was the largest number of murder charges brought against any single person in the United States history. Here's his actual trial suit. This is nuts, like the whole suit you have, the dress shirt, and the tie. Like that is really insane to see. And they do have some items right underneath here. These items were found in the pockets of John Wayne Gacy's suits following the trial. Looks like you have some little candies there, some matchbooks as well. They have some really crazy items inside of this jail cell. They have a semi-trailer truck with 7 dwarfs painted on it by John Wayne Gacy back in 1999. Does that say, babe?
1990.
1990. This is the only piece of its kind painted by Gacy. Gacy paid $75 for the truck, made by fellow prisoner, he said was a contract killer. Oh boy, that is nuts. You can see all of the 7 dwarfs from Disney. It says J.W. Gacy at the bottom. And then over here, this is really something else as well. It says Baseball Hall of Fame. This is a piece by John Wayne Gacy as well. You can see J.W. Gacy at the bottom right-hand corner, but this has some very notable Hall of Fame signatures, like Joe DiMaggio, I can see, Mickey Mantle's on there, Ernie Banks, Lou Brock, that is something else. And then over here is yet another painting by John Wayne Gacy. Look at that with all the different like horror killers. In this section here, they actually have a jail cell that you can go inside. So this would be like one of the desks with a chair. You have a couple shelves. Like look how small that is. You do have like the toilet. Like how unsanitary is this? The toilet and the water fountain are attached to one another. And then right next there, they do have some bunk beds. Like the cushion is probably only like an inch. Like that is nuts. Over here it says see if you can escape. They have a little hole in the wall right underneath where you can see if you can escape to the other side of the room. This section here is the capital punishment. They do have an actual electric chair. This gives you like some strange vibe, seriously, like with the leather straps and all of the wood. This is Old Smoky, Tennessee's electric chair. The electric chair was housed at the Tennessee State Penitentiary in Nashville and was responsible for 125 executions between 1916 and 1960. Like look at that, like that is nuts. Then over here they do also have a gas chamber. In 1924, Nevada conducted the first successful execution of poisonous gas using cyanide to execute gang member Guy Young. You can actually see the different valves and things going on up there. And there's a chair right over here where you would strap the prisoner in with the leather straps. Let's check out some of the vehicles that they have on the bottom section. This is actually Ted Bundy's 1968 Volkswagen Beetle, and it does portray Ted Bundy with 2 different photos right there. I do actually want to show Ted Bundy's 1968 Volkswagen Beetle. You can see how like old and weathered this thing is. It is crazy that they have some of these things on display though, like the old like Volkswagen hubcaps are still on it. It has the emblem on the hood for Volkswagen. Like so many people got kidnapped and put inside of this thing. Like that is, it's like really something else to be able to see like in person here at a museum. And then over here, like I do have a couple other vehicles. The next car right next to Ted Bundy's Volkswagen Beetle, they have a 1934 Ford V8 here on display. Bonnie and Clyde death car, 1967. This isn't the exact like Bonnie and Clyde vehicle, but this is like an exact replica that was used in the movie. Like you can see all the bullet holes all over the door and the front. It looks like the glass on the driver's side is broken. It's a really neat like prop and item from the movie here at the museum. That is really neat. I do want to point out over here in the back section, they have the white Ford Bronco that was actually driven by O.J. Simpson here on display. There's some signage out here in front of the 1993 Ford Bronco. It says, yes, this is the real Bronco. And then they do have, like I said, the entire Ford Bronco. It still has its original license plate. California, it says Manhattan Ford, Manhattan Beach. Actually looks like this thing is kept in like pristine condition. But I like how they have a picture with all the different police cars chasing down O.J. Simpson. You can see him in the driver's seat of this actual vehicle right there in that picture. Like this is a really unique item, especially compared, or I should say combined with this photo that they have. You can just imagine O.J. in the driver's seat of this. And there's a whole section dedicated to Bonnie and Clyde. Here's a Clyde Barrow, I should say, payroll receipt. At age 16, Clyde quit school and took a factory job with Procter & Gamble, earning 30 cents an hour. And here's the actual payroll receipt there. Then over here, you have a picture of Clyde with his mother. Look at that though, like how do you find stuff like this? A picture with Clyde, and here's a tile from R.P. Henry and Sons Bank in Lancaster, Texas. It says the Barrow Gang robbed the Henry Bank on February 27th, 1934, taking over $4,000. And there's one of the tiles from it. Let's see what we have doing in this case here. You have James J. Bulger, so we have Whitey Bulger, a famous mobster, photo taken 1994. You can see him, and then photo retouched back in 2000. It says date of birth September 3rd, 1929, Boston, Massachusetts. Really interesting. They have the height at 5'7" to 5'9", 150 to 160 pounds, but it looks like they do have some of his Asics sneakers on display. That is crazy. Whitey Bulger's Asics sneakers. They have the tag on from the police. Like that is something else. Then these are from items from Whitey Bulger's apartment hideout. When Whitey Bulger finally was captured back in 2011, he had been living with his girlfriend Catherine Craig in an apartment 3 blocks from the beach in Santa Monica since 1996 under the names Charles and Carol Gasco. That is nuts. That is absolutely crazy. While not reclusive, items in the apartment revealed a preparedness to go on the run. Oh my gosh, at a moment's notice. Of course, like Whitey Bulger was ready to run at any time if he was ever caught. And it actually says the reward there. FBI is offering $1 million reward for information leading to direct arrest of James J. Bulger. And of course, like every good tour, it leads you into the gift shop. They have some Ted Bundy t-shirts. It says 1946 to 1989. It says Alcatraz East Museum. Let's see, Stranger Danger right underneath. That's like a replica of his Volkswagen Beetle on the t-shirt. And they do have smaller little replicas of the Volkswagen Beetles for $14.99. I really like these magnets though. Like these are really interesting. It says serial killers. You have like John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, but it has the Alcatraz East Crime Museum. These are $6 a piece. A couple of the unique items here to the Alcatraz Crime Museum. They have these snow globes. They say Pigeon Forge, Tennessee at the bottom. This is the actual entrance though with the vehicles. It looks like you do have the Ford Bronco there from O.J. Simpson. Let's see how that looks. That looks really cool. I love snow globes with the glitter and the snow. $10.99 for that. Then they have one, looks like you have Al Capone on there, some surrender photos. It says Alcatraz East Museum. Okay, so this one is actually double-sided, so that makes that extra cool. And how about some of the t-shirts that they have here? It says Alcatraz East Crime Museum. Then you have a bunch of fingerprints. It says, what's your print? These are only $23 a piece. I had such a great time today hanging out here in Pigeon Forge at the Alcatraz East Museum. It's really like mind-blowing, and it kind of sets you back seeing some of the pieces. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm reading about some of the articles, items from John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy. It's something else, like Charles Manson, Ed Gein, Eileen Wuornos. Like, they have things from all of them. Famous mobsters all the way to like Bernie Madoff. Like, they have a little bit of everything. So if you're interested in this sort of thing like we are, it'll really captivate you. You could probably spend a good 2-3 hours here, like reading all of the different articles and checking out the amazing collection of different things that they have. I highly suggest you check out the Alcatraz East Museum though. If you'd like to further support the channel, please consider checking out our Patreon page. I'll add a link to that in the description box of this video. But if you like today's video, give it a big thumbs up. And as always, make today awesome.